Looking for financial support that strives to honor your community's rich heritage and cultural practices? Introducing RBC Origins. Our Indigenous banking specialists provide resources and advice that can help transform your ideas into tangible progress and community prosperity. At RBC, we're committed to driving your goals forward. Learn more at rbc.com/indigenous. RBC, ideas happen here.
I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 22nd. We begin in Huntsville, Ontario, site of this year's gathering of premiers from across Canada. Uppermost on their agenda, the looming August 1st deadline to reach a new trade deal with the United States before it slaps a 35% tariff on Canadian goods. And as part of that gathering, premiers met Monday with Indigenous leaders, including Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nepinak.
I just told them, I said, it's so important that First Nations people have a proper full seat around the table. And you want to come in here and you want to talk about big projects. And, at the same time, we need to talk about some uncomfortable truths when it comes to our people, like our little kids on First Nations communities that may not have access to clean drinking water, or proper paved roads, or high-speed internet, or, that $350 billion infrastructure gap, that First Nations experience. And so I talked about all those uncomfortable, hard truths, and that the prosperity of this country, that First Nations have been very generous by sharing of the land. First Nations and the Crown created this country, and we're all a family. Nobody's going anywhere anymore, so we have to try and find a different way forward. So I did challenge them to a First Ministers meeting, and we built consensus, of course, around the table that they would have a First Ministers meeting, that they will put that request to the Prime Minister on economic reconciliation and, finding the path forward in this country. But I told them, I said, if you really want to show respect, give us a full seat at the table. And I think that now is the time. It's 2025. Like National Chiefs have said before me, where's our seat?
The mother of one of two men shot and killed by a Calgary police officer is now speaking to media, an officer who now stands charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder in the deaths of Wesley Davidson and Levon Fox Wildman. Chris Stewart reports.
In May of 2023, a 5-ton cube van was allegedly stolen. Calgary police followed it along the Calgary streets at a slow pace. Video shows the speeds as it drove along Memorial Drive. Inside was Wesley Davidson, the driver, and Levon Fox Wildman, the passenger. In the video, you can hear several shots being fired. Both men died from the bullets of Constable Craig Stothard, a 15-year veteran. The family of Levon Fox Wildman held a memorial walk, saying Levon was killed unjustly. Last week, the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team, or ASIRT's, investigation concluded, and Constable Stothard was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He was quickly released on bail.
It was very, very emotional for me.
Lena Wildman, Levon's mother, says she was called at work by ASIRT with the news of the charges.
I had to leave from work and come home because it was too much for me. And to hear that he was being charged with second-degree murder, it just reaffirmed what I knew from everything that I saw. It just reaffirmed that my son didn't have to die. That policeman didn't have to pull the trigger.
She doesn't understand how Constable Stothard felt threatened enough to shoot.
My son didn't even have the opportunity to show his hands and get out of the vehicle. They didn't even have any weapons. They weren't shooting back at the police or nothing. The reality that there was intent to take his life, it really hurt. It really hurt. And yes, there was anger and a lot of sadness too.
Sadness that will never go away. Levon was a father of 4. She says he was a family man, kind-hearted, and a good athlete. He won his first rodeo at 14 years old.
We have to deal with a lifelong of loss. We have to deal with a lifelong of grief. It's a life-changing event. We have to deal with it.
And now the family has to prepare for a potential trial and travel from Edmonton to Calgary to do so. She is worried the trial will give the officer special treatment.
We plan to be there because I want to let him know that that's not just another Indian on the street. That's not just another homeless street person. I want him to know that he had family. My son had family. I want him to know my son was loved. So I'm going to be there every appearance.
Don McLeod, Constable Stothard's lawyer, told APTN that his client maintains his innocence and intends to mount a full and vigorous defense. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
To Quebec City.
Puis je vois comment le territoire est déjà détruit par les compagnies forestières, les autres compagnies.
I see how the territory is already being destroyed by forestry companies, other companies. As the first people, we weren't consulted, we weren't asked. And that's why we're here, to show, in fact, our disagreement with Bill 97, and then to ask that it be removed.
That's one of a number of protesters denouncing Bill 97 over the weekend. Touted as modernizing Quebec's forestry regime, the bill envisions 3 zones: forest development, conservation, and multipurpose, a subdivision the Quebec government claims will balance logging with conservation. But some say impacted communities weren't properly consulted on the legislation, which is why some First Nations have set up blockades on logging roads and sent eviction notices to forestry companies. And finally, the annual Back to Batsh festival wrapped up this weekend, and as attendees took in Métis music, activities, and culture inside the Batsh National Historic Site, outside, some demonstrators called out the leadership of Métis Nation Saskatchewan. Rachel May has more.
So right now, a lot of Métis citizens throughout the province have had a lot of concerns regarding finances and harassment, allegations, and stopping our 2 elected regional representatives from representing their peoples.
Festival goers arriving at Back to Batsh on Friday were met with signs demanding transparency, accountability, and an audit. Earlier this year, MNS CEO Richard Quintel accused 4 elected officials of harassing him. One of the accused was Kathy Pruden-Nansel. Although she was not re-elected in this year's election, she says taking part in peaceful demonstrations, especially at Batsh, is important.
Our elders led this process. They gave us direction. They're the ones that wanted us to come out here. This is Batsh. It's our sacred space. We all have rights. We want to be heard.
After the MNS election, 2 of the 4 regional representatives were re-elected, but barred from their swearing-in ceremony and blocked from attending provincial Métis Council meetings. Last week, they were told they would receive a follow-up swearing-in ceremony, but no clarity was given on whether they'll be allowed back into council meetings. When asked about this, MNS President Glenn McCallum said there's a process to follow, and the ceremony is important to keep the MNS government functioning.
Any government that you go to, any institution you go to, you have rules. I wouldn't want to break rules. I'm not here to break rules. But there's protocols that you need to have and you need to follow, and that's what we have. We're no different from any other government.
The event also marked a key moment between MNS and Parks Canada, with a memorandum of understanding signed to bring 50 bison to Batsh by the end of the year. McCallum said working with Parks Canada is important to keep Métis history alive.
Well, as you well know, the history of the Métis has always been involved in the hunting, harvesting of buffalo from way back when, from the East Coast to coming down to the prairies.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe was also at Back to Batsh to mark the start of the festival. He said attending events like this is vital to ensure governments at all levels can move forward together.
There's tough discussions that happen between any government, any level of government and other levels of government and people, groups that we represent. But you need to show up and you need to commit to working through even those tough discussions.
Moe added that events like Back to Batsh are a chance to celebrate Indigenous achievements, highlighting programs like the Dene Teacher Program and the Clarence Campo Fund. Rachel May, APTN National News, Batsh.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 22nd. I'm Rick Harp.